sitting here with Dineo, the beautiful Dineo. She is so sweet and soft-spoken. She makes me feel like a devil. But Dineo, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Dineo, let's go back. Let me take you back to before you were this Dineo that everyone knows and adores. What made you want to get into the TV industry?
TV, I always say, and we can track it to many other interviews. TV happened by accident in my life because I had worked as an actress for the better part of 2010. That was around the World Cup time, and around the World Cup time there were a lot of auditions for presenters, but if you speak to a lot of actors back then, there was a bit of a discrepancy regarding actors and presenters, because actors always used to have this very, very nose up in the air thing saying they could never do what presenters do. It's never the same thing, because people would say, oh, presenting, acting, pretty much the same thing. And actors would tell you very quickly that no, it's actually not. So I also sort of had that discrepancy, so to speak. I also sort of had it. So my agent would send me a lot of presenting gigs, and I'd be like, how about no, don't send me that.
You were saying no to jobs?
I wasn't saying no to jobs. I was saying no to those kinds of auditions because I didn't want to, I just wanted to entrench myself in acting quite a bit at the time. So then, you know, as things kept moving, a friend of mine, I wasn't working. I think I just finished with some comedy series. And as I'd finished then, a friend of mine says, oh, good luck to whoever be interviewing Jay-Z. I'm like, oh, who's that? She's like, no, Nancy's leaving O Access, so they're looking for a new presenter. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's something I could see myself doing, you know. I'm not opposed to that kind of presenting, because I know I can speak, I know I can ask people questions, I know I don't get starstruck. So that's how TV kind of happened. I was never actually sure as to whether or not I'd get the job. With every stage, 100 and something, 20 something, 10, 2, all down to those numbers. I was never ever sure about my getting the gig. In the process, I found myself having gotten this job at O Access, which was on Channel O, and I was quite shocked. I mean, right, you could check the YouTube video. I was like, really, me? Okay,
I got it.
it was really quite the shocker. So that's how the accident of TV happened to my life and stayed in my life.
Because I mean, you were selected out of like thousands of people.
Yeah,
that is true talent right there.
Well,
I have to be humble. Cameras on.
It's not even a matter of being humble. It's not even a matter of being humble. I remember looking at my old tapes and thinking I was pretty dull. You know, everybody when they first get on camera, they believe in their heads that they're exuding a certain amount of confidence, or they're actually putting out their best selves or their most bubbly and live selves, and what you think you're doing in your head is not what's translating on camera.
Oh, yes.
Being on camera is a consistent practice until you actually find your groove. So, I mean, people won't like a lot of people on TV for the first time. So it could be, somebody could say talent, somebody could say other things, other people could say other things. The defiant favor of the fates is what I call it.
True, that's really true. So, okay, going back again, you said you were doing acting.
Yeah.
How did you get there?
I am a musician by study. I studied music. I went to the National School of the Arts here in Braamfontein. I went to the New School for Jazz and Contemporary Music in New York in Greenwich Village. So at the time when I was at the National School of the Arts, I also did acting as extracurricular. So then it was never something I'd let go of. When I could no longer afford my studies in New York, I made up my mind. I'd gotten an agent just before I left South Africa. So I made up my mind when I no longer had funds that I was going to work, you know. I was going to sit around and be sad for myself, and got back. First job I got was a drama series on SABC1.
Wow.
Yeah, there've been different occurrences. Acting hasn't fallen away in my life. It's always been there. We've grown in it, and you know, there's a movie coming out that I did last year. It's called Golden Highway. I'm the lead actress, along with the likes of Lehasa Maloy, Tando Tabete, Tapelo Mokwena. So that should be coming out in the first half of this year.
Oh wow, that's a must watch.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Oh wow, so it's like for you things just fell in place.
No. Things fell apart before they fell in place.
Tell us about that.
That was the simple story of my not being able to afford my education in New York City. It's a tough city to live in. Cost of living is not cheap at the end of the day, and the rand to the dollar exchange was quite high at the time, so it was very hard to maintain a lifestyle and also maintain an education, because it was a private school university. It wasn't public school university. So,
and being in New York, that doesn't make it any easier.
It doesn't make it any easier. You're competing with everybody, from subway to walkway to parks. Everybody is pretty much trying to do the exact same thing you want to do at the end of the day. So things fell apart there. There have been moments where things have fallen apart, just in the time of my being in the television industry. So you find a way to, at some level, keep your head above float and make sure that you're paddling for dear life, because no one, this is what they don't tell you when you come in, no one is going to give it to you. You have to fight for it.
Oh yes, it depends how bad you want it.
Absolutely.
Sure. So did you have any maybe thoughts to say, I mean, I'm in New York.
Yeah.
This is America. Maybe I should push for acting there instead of coming back home.
It is tough because I'm the kind of person who wants to do things above board. I never want to do things in secrecy and hiding and running, and that's not my life. I'm a girl. I don't want to break my nails. I want to do things that will just put me in a position where I'm uncomfortable. So my mother actually said to me, no, stay, get a job, you'll figure it out as you go. I was like, no, I'm going to come back on my own terms. Coming back on my own terms then became All Access, because I lived in LA. I would fly to New York sometimes to work, and I'd fly to Atlanta to work sometimes. So I did come back on my own terms. I just wasn't about to do it in secrecy.
Oh, wow.
And the one thing you do learn about the Americans, in as much as you want to stay and do the acting and do the music as well, they do teach you that go be big at home first. Then only can we come back and have a conversation about how you can infiltrate our market, because the minute you walk in and you look like the American girl, you sound like the American girl, there's 20 million of you gunning for the same job. You absolutely have to go back, sow your roots at home, and Americans will actually sit up and take notice. Look at the climate right now. In Nigeria, they're paying attention to the artists quite a bit. There's a lot of artists that are working with big artists, songwriters, musicians, dancers. There's a plethora of opportunities for a lot of people in Nigeria. There's the likes of AKA, who recently, did Jeremiah's remix along with Ice Prince. So all those doors are starting to be open, and they open why? They're open because those people are actually sowing their own roots in their country and becoming as big as they can possibly be, so as to sort of infiltrate the international market.
That's true, and that's the style you had that I like about you. You're just yourself. Yeah. It's not trying to be someone else or whatever, which just got you to where you are.
Yeah.
And just touching on that point, there are people who want to be TV presenters. They look up to you as a role model.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Dineo, or whatever the case might be. What advice would you tell them?
It's exactly what you just said. Being a TV presenter is first and foremost believing in your own personality. If you think you suck, if you think you're boring, it's going to translate on TV, because there's nothing that the audience misses. The audience can see every little thing. If your posture sucks, if you don't believe in the outfit you're wearing, if you feel uncomfortable, if you feel fat, if you feel that, the audience can always see that. Television is a mind trick that we're all pulling. Every presenter that you love is pulling a Jedi mind trick on you.
Which mind trick are you pulling?
I'm not.
You can tell us that.
I promise you, it's just a matter of I just think at some level I'm funny.
Ooh.
There are girls who think that they're sexy. There are girls who think that they have amazing legs. There are girls who think they constantly have amazing whatever.
Whatever it is. Yes.
Whatever it is. But I personally think I have the ability to be down to earth and funny. I think so. It doesn't take somebody else telling me, yes. and I'll be my first critic, I'll have the bad shows and I'll go, that show was wonky. There's some shows where I just go, okay.
But sometimes we are our own worst critics.
Oh, I am. You can ask my mother anytime. She'll tell you this one it'll rain before she gives herself a compliment. And that's how it always is. I just don't believe in being complacent, and going, oh honey, I've arrived. arrived. You can't tell me nothing. It is never that way. The second you feel that you have arrived, somebody is right there to pull the rug up from underneath you, because television presenting is a very short-lived career space as a woman. As a man, you can sort of transition. It's like the George Clooney thing. They look sort of awkward in the beginning, they come into their own, and then they look matured and handsome, and then they come into this producer space of their life where, you know, they can sort of be upper echelon, so to speak.
True.
So for me, with women, you know, we have a certain bracket in which you can capitalize on the presenting thing, and of course you have to be young. You have to be young, and that's why I'm saying there's always somebody there who's studying everything that you're doing, who's looking at you going, oh, okay, this is what you're doing. I like that. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. That is how you land up with a girl who's new in the industry, who's a breath of fresh air, who's doing something different, and people love that. Because when you sit there and you go, oh no, I'm comfortable, I'm the boss of this thing. No. No, never, ever, ever should people think that.
It's true, and I like the point where you said, you know, this is like short-lived. There's a certain
very short-lived.
What are you doing about it? Do you have businesses on the side to say, okay, when my time, if it comes, this is what I'll be doing, you know, to put food on my table?
You know, I'm the kind of person who believes in not jinxing things. Because if you're at the beginning of something, you have to try your best to just keep your hands in the mud, keep your head down, and just work. Because once you're going, well, now that you've asked, I'm doing this and that, and I'm so... No. That you just don't do that. Until you have a solid product that is running, if you have an engine that can run itself, then only can you go, oh, actually, this is what I also do. So I'd love to tell you, but I can't tell you.
It's not.
I'd have to kill you.
You see, you're the witness. So what are the challenges would you say you're facing right now in the industry? You're a brand. You know, now you are a big brand.
Not big. Not big.
What would you say you are?
You know, lukewarm, floating above the radar.
Okay, I'll take that for now. So what would you say these are the challenges that you're facing?
Shoo. I don't consider my challenges surrounding one industry, one facet of the industry. I am singer, actor, and presenter. So my pool of competition is quite wide and varied, and I have to work thrice as hard to be noticed, you know, and noticed the way I'd like to. Not just, oh, you're on television every day, so you're top of mind, and that should never be the case. People should crave seeing you on a particular space, should crave hearing you as a musician on the radio space, should crave seeing you as an actress, you know. Once you start to get that kind of demand, and not just from people, because people are people, they'll tweet, they'll Facebook, they'll whatever, and that's smoke in the air. But once you start to build some sort of demand, and that's a challenge, it's a big challenge to build a demand for yourself in any country in the world, because at the end of the day, you are competing with quite a few people. There is no point where I sit and I go, okay, well, my space is entrenched now. It's not entrenched. And I think we're living in a period that is forcing each and every one of us to now start to feed the wheel of reinvention, because there hasn't been a time where people felt in the entertainment space that they had to reinvent themselves. Hence the reason why you'll find in soapies there are people who have played particular characters forever.
Yes.
You know, and that is doing themselves a disservice, according to what I believe and what my studies have taught me to believe. You constantly have to reinvent the space you're in. You have to reevaluate. You have to sit there and go, this is what I was doing wrong. This is what I was slightly doing right. How do we flip people's perception? How do we now, you know, catch people off guard, because they should never ever see you coming? And you know, that alone within itself is a challenge to build, because essentially what we're all trying to do as artists is build an empire around ourselves. And that is something you have to figure out here first. There's no manager, there's no PR person that can figure out the plan you'd like for yourself. There's no person who can figure out the things that can enhance your design. So it's challenging all around. So
I can imagine. And do you think people see Dineo the way you want them to see, the way you present your brand? Do you think they see it like that?
Oh no, that's a terrible thing though. and they think I'm like, and you did it too, because I'm like a closed bottle when I first meet people. I'm never out there and in your face.
Yeah.
I take my moments to assess somebody. They think I'm like all sweet, and I have the worst potty mouth on the planet.
I can't believe
loud
that. I am finding it hard to believe.
I am loud like the woman in my family. I am so relaxed. I am one of the people who believe that wearing a bra after 8 is a sin. It's, you know, it's
I'm sure a lot of guys are like, Dineo, please come to my house.
No, I wouldn't. But it's just like there's so many people have taken this good girl approach to me, and maybe it's because I'm a very private person. I will let people know my work and never let them know my personal life. My personal life is a very guarded thing, and it's because I prefer to revel in the simple things at times. I prefer to be at the music festivals, the concerts, the markets, the getaways, the zip lining, the, you know, all those things that, you know, if you were doing it in front of people, it would be so uncomfortable. You know, I respect a brand like Beyonce's because she has grown to let you in. She didn't just let you in.
Yes.
It wasn't like it's free for all, come up in my house and see what's going on. Because that's a problem at the end of the day. You have to moderate how much people see into your life in this industry, and that is how she's done it is absolutely smart in my book. Like, I'm the biggest beast, and anybody will tell you. But you know, what was the question again?
I like that. But how do people see you? Do you think people view your brand the way you want them to see it? But like you said, maybe
they see
wrong.
me as like sweet little birdie.
Are you not?
No.
Really?
I'm sweet, but I'm beastly.
Don't you think we all have that little
all
thing? If
do.
you tick us wrong.
No, and I'm not even saying that in an angry manner. I'm saying that with regards to how I conduct myself as a professional, I conduct myself as a woman going out there. I was raised by women predominantly, and being raised by my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, my aunt, my great-grandmother who ran businesses on a grade 5 education. Grade 5 is standard 3. And she had a taxi business with many taxis. She ran a poultry business. She was a herbal healer for babies. In the 80s, she ran a tavern as a woman who didn't drink but thrived off it. She was one of the first people to realize how much carpooling was a great business incentive. So it's just all these things that I've come to learn from the women in my family that drive me to be a whole lot more hands-on and choose to rather learn, not have assistant or whoever who'll do this for me. I prefer to do things for myself. I'm very much, I can't be led.
Yeah, it has to be hands-on. It has to be.
I have to lead.
way.
Like if I were to ever enter one of those, be called for one of those celebrity dance competitions, my partner would have a problem because I can't be led. It's one of those things that's why I say I may be sweet, but I'm very beastly. Going ahead, like there's very little that I believe I can't do.
What would be your plans like 5 years from now? Do you have a certain space you'd say this is where I want to venture in, or
okay, I will give you keywords because you know I don't want to jinx.
okay,
Mogul. Mogul is the first. Icon is the second. Opulent is the third. Luxurious is the fourth. And happy is the fifth.
but you are happy. You want to be more happier.
I'm not happy yet, eh? I feel like I'm not working enough, so I'm not happy yet. I'm not happy yet.
But how do you balance it off? You know, you always have so many things that are happening, and you know, how do you balance it off with your personal life, spending time with family, and you know, at the same time being busy, staying relevant in the industry?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You know, I saw something on Instagram that said you're never too busy. It's just you choose who you make time for.
That's really true.
And a lot of the time, the choice is family first. I could be hungry on my last $100, and if somebody else needs it, that is my family. They can have it.
Which is the way to go. Dineo, thank you so much for joining us. Viewers, that was the beautiful Beastly Dineo, and thank you for watching.